It was a cold, miserable night in October '85, rain hammering my old Chevy pickup like it was trying to drown the whole damn town of Willow Creek. I'm Jack Ramsey, just a washed-up Marine, 62 years young, sitting in that truck outside Rosie's diner, wipers barely keeping up, my hands gripping the wheel like it could anchor me to something solid. See, I just gotten news that weak lung cancer, stage 2, maybe 2 years left, 3 if I'm lucky, and it felt like the world was closing in, same as that storm. I'd parked in that lot 100 times before, Rosie's neon sign buzzing through the downpour, a little slice of warmth in a town that had seen better days. Willow Creek used to hum with life lumber mills, mom-and-pop shops, but the mills closed in '83, and now it's just ghosts and grit holding us together. Inside my jacket, my old Beretta M9, a relic from my Marine days in Germany, '68, pressed cold against my ribs. Never thought I'd need it again, but some habits die hard. I was staring at Rosie's windows, golden light spilling out, when I noticed this beat-up sedan at the far end of the lot out of place, like it didn't belong. Didn't think much of it then, just figured some poor soul was riding out the storm like me. Inside, Rosie's was the same as ever, smell of coffee and bacon grease, Johnny Cash crooning low on the jukebox. Rosie herself, 60 and tough as nails, poured my coffee without asking, black, no sugar, the way I've had it since forever. Rough night, Jack, she said, eyeing me like she could see the weight I was carrying. You been out there brooding too long. I just grunted, settling into my corner booth where I could watch the door-old Marine instincts. Just thinking, Rosie, I said, sipping that bitter brew, trying to dodge her stare. Truth was, I wasn't just thinking about the cancer. There was this letter in my pocket, from my daughter, Ellie, who I hadn't spoken to in 15 years, not since her mom took her and left after I came back from Lebanon. Then the door chimed, and in walked 2 of my Patriot Guard buddies, Hank, a Korean War vet with eyes like steel, and Tommy, who did 2 tours in Nam. They slid into my booth, shaking rain off their jackets. Thought we'd find you here, Jack, Hank said, his voice rough as gravel. Funeral's still on tomorrow, kid from the base, training accident. We rode with the Guard, standing with flags at military funerals, shielding families from the ugliness of protesters. It gave me purpose, something to hold on to. But Hank wasn't done. You get those test results? He asked, cutting straight to it. I froze, coffee halfway to my mouth. Not good, I admitted, keeping it short. Couple years, maybe. Tommy cursed under his breath, but Hank just nodded, like he'd seen it all before. You got time, Jack? Before I could say more, Rosie dropped an envelope on the table. Came for you, she said. Someone knows you're a regular. My gut twisted when I saw the handwriting, Ellie's. I tucked it away, not ready to face whatever she'd written. Hank and Tommy didn't push, just sipped their coffee, but I could feel their eyes on me. Then the storm got worse, way worse. By morning, Willow Creek was a mess, roads flooded, trees down, power out across half the county. Rosie called, voice tight. Jack, the diner's in trouble, rivers rising fast. Could use your hands. I didn't think twice, grabbed my rain gear, and headed out. That's when I saw her again, the woman from that beat-up sedan, sitting in a booth with a little girl, maybe 4, coloring with crayons. Rosie must have scrounged up. That's Lisa and her kid, Sophie, Rosie whispered as I walked in. Came in early, looking rough. Think they're living out of that car. Lisa had this look, gaunt, eyes scanning the room like she was still in a war zone. Her jacket had a faded combat medic patch, Army, and I knew that look too well. PTSD, the kind that keeps you wired, waiting for the next hit. I didn't ask questions, just got to work hauling sandbags, moving what we could upstairs. Lisa jumped in too, her hands steady despite the exhaustion in her face. Sophie stayed close, clutching a ratty stuffed bear she called Corporal Teddy. Between loads, I caught Lisa staring at my Marine sweatshirt, something like recognition in her eyes. You served? She said, not a question. Marines, 62 to 84, I replied. She nodded, barely. Army, Afghanistan, 17 to 20. Combat medic. That was all she said, but it was enough. We understood each other. By afternoon, the diner was as secure as we could make it, but the river was still rising. Rosie insisted on feeding everyone hamburgers from what was left in the fridge. Lisa tried to refuse, saying she couldn't pay, but Rosie just waved her off. Pride's a hell of a thing, she muttered to me. But hunger's worse. When the lights went out, plunging us into shadows, Sophie whimpered, and Lisa pulled her close. I couldn't just sit there. Hey, ma'am, I said, keeping my voice soft. You and Sophie okay? Storm's getting bad. There's a shelter at the high school. Lisa's jaw tightened. We're fine here, she said, but her voice shook. I knew that fear crowds, strangers, nowhere to run. My place is on high ground, I offered. Got room, supplies. You'd be safe. She stared at me, weighing trust against survival. A crash of thunder made Sophie cry out, and that settled it. Okay, Lisa said, but just till the storm passes. We made a run for my truck, Sophie giggling despite the rain, Lisa clutching her tight. At my place, a little house on the edge of town, I got the generator going, and soon the smell of chicken noodle soup filled the kitchen. Sophie, swimming in one of my old t-shirts, looked around with big eyes. Your house is big, she said, spoon in hand. We live in our car now, Mommy says it's an adventure. Lisa flinched, but I just grinned at Sophie. Best adventures always need soup, I said, and she laughed, a sound that hit me right in the chest. That night, as the storm raged, Sophie couldn't sleep thunder too loud, she said. So we built a blanket fort in the living room, pillows and a lantern making it cozy. This keeps the scary stuff out, I told her, and she crawled in, Corporal Teddy in tow. Lisa watched, her guard dropping just a bit. You're good with her, she said later, when Sophie was asleep. You got kids. I hesitated. Had a daughter, Ellie. She's grown now. We don't talk. Lisa nodded, like she got it. My husband, Mark, died in a training accident at Fort Hood last year. Left us with nothing but debt, and his brother, Greg, trying to take Sophie away. He's a cop, got connections, says I'm unfit. Her voice cracked, and I saw the fear she'd been running from. He won't find you here, I said, meaning it. You're safe. Morning came, the storm gone, leaving a wrecked town and a quiet house. Lisa made coffee instant, but it did the job. You opening that letter today? She asked, catching me off guard. I nodded, my throat tight. Been running from it too long. Alone in the kitchen, Ellie wrote about the years apart, her son asking about me, her shaking. Katie, I said, the old nickname slipping out. Dad, she answered, and I could hear her smile. We set a meeting for the next day, a park in Richmond, neutral ground. The next morning, Lisa and Sophie were packing up. Lisa had decided to go with her father-in-law, Colonel Hayes, to his ranch, where she could get PTSD help, and Sophie could have her. I saw Ellie older, but still my girl, and Danny, a serious kid with my eyes. Hi, Dad, Ellie said, tears in her voice. We talked, laughed, fed ducks, and I told her about the cancer. She didn't flinch, just said, You're not checking out early, Grandpa. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Back in Willow Creek, I helped Rosie rebuild the diner, nailing up those old photos of local vets, each one a story of sacrifice. But I kept thinking about Ellie's letter, Lisa's courage, Sophie's trust. I'd been running from my ghosts, Lebanon, Ellie, the cancer, for too long. Now, with maybe 2 years left running, I've got a grandson to know, a daughter to love, a town to help rebuild. And yeah, I'm scared, but fear's just another mission to face. So what do you think? Was I right to open that letter, to take that chance? Or should I have stayed in my truck, letting the storm decide my fate? Drop a comment. Share your thoughts. Have you ever had to face a past you thought was gone? Let's talk about it.